Hey, this is Elton Hollis with Hol-Tech Resources. Man, I just had a great interview with Yaya Diamond. If you haven't ever listened to her or hadn't spoke to her, it's a real treat. Y'all check us out so you can see how everything's going.
I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. What's up, people? It is all about gas today. And I'm not talking about the one that comes out of your behind. So let's just go ahead and break, and then you guys can just like laugh, and then we'll go. I'll be right back. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back to the show. So we have Elton Hollis on the show today, and I am telling you, he's going to be talking about the entry levels and what he's doing and the tech side and this side and the people. Let me tell you something. It is not all about money. It is all about, well, Elton, go ahead and tell us what this is all about. Thank you so much and welcome to the show.
Oh, I sure appreciate it. Thank you very much for the invitation. You're right. Everybody thinks it's all about money when it comes to business, but it's not. It's all about people and relationships, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's great to have these little checkouts at Walmart that you can run through real fast and scan your own piece and be out of there. That's great stuff. But so far in my adventures, I have never run into a system that lets me scan something and it spits out a PO or a check for me. I've got to deal with some type of person in that industry.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm no Elon Musk, but I mean, he's got a long way to go before he can replace these people with machines. So
yeah,
it is all about the relationships.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing is with all of the $75 billion worth of work that's busting loose in Texas and Southwest Louisiana in the industrial world.
Yeah.
You're having to deal with a lot of different folks out there from all walks of life.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fun part. Like we talked about earlier, it's one of those things where you don't know who you're going to be dealing with that day. Is this a person that has experience, or is this a person that has education, or, so it's always a blast. You never know who you're going to run into.
Definitely. So you work with the safety, quality, and compliance realm, right?
I do. That's one piece that I deal with, which leads you to a lot of folks who hyper focus on smaller little bitty pieces as opposed to the big picture.
Right. And so tell me, okay, so let's go back a little bit. Let's go back to when you figured out this was either what you wanted to do or you got like pushed into it. Because I've only found that there's only two ways to get into something. You either get pushed in or you found your way in. It's just what I mean?
It's kind of like the old saying that is flying is just falling with style, right? So that's what kind of happened is I never thought I would be in this. I thought I was going to be content to just work in the civil field and just be just a blue collar hand, and that would work. And somewhere along the way, it totally changed. I started learning from people and understanding that dealing with relationships and dealing with people and helping them solve problems, it's just something that's almost addictive to be able to help people like that. And that's what really brought me into it. I went to work for an individual, and he said, "Man, I don't know anything about this safety stuff. You've taken a couple of safety classes, right?" And I was like, yeah, the super basic ones. And he was like, "Okay, well, you're the safety guy." Oh, gee, thanks.
Hey.
So it's been fun. It's been a fun ride. And like I say, it's one of those things that you deal with folks that are hyper focused on the small stuff, but it's always really cool to look at what they're doing and then knowing the other side of it, be able to tie it all together. It sure keeps somebody that's a visionary focused and ready to go.
Definitely. So I wanted to talk about the gas end of this whole thing. The gas industry and all of that is affecting everything. It's affecting it affects how much you pay for your groceries. It affects how much you're paying for your light bill. It affects everything. How is it affecting your business today? And how do you kind of like work around that, or can you?
I'm going to have to buy a bicycle. That's the only way I can afford my fuel bill. This jacked up redneck truck is just not working.
Oh my gosh.
So it's affecting us the obvious way, right? So high gas prices out there. You hear all this stuff on the news and all the other things that are out there, media outlets, but high gas prices don't help anybody.
Right.
Sure, if you're an oil executive up there, you're getting a little bit more money in your pocket and stuff like that, but it's causing you way more problems than it's worth to line your pockets. So high gas prices are not good for anybody.
Right.
So when we have issues like that, I don't feel like there's a singular individual that goes out there and says, hey, we're just going to jack up gas prices for everybody and make them miserable. That's really not the way it works.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is, when you have issues like that, that's what spawns and really gets people thinking about what can we do to alleviate these problems, because it affects everybody's pocketbook. So,
right.
So what we're seeing is the old oil and gas, everybody talks about the smog and the pollution and everything. What we're seeing is that type of industry blending with the renewable natural gas and the wind and the solar to come together in the middle and say, oh, wait a minute, there's a way to make money and not have to learn a whole new craft, but also not affect the world. And I think you see that with biomass, biofuels.
Right.
They're taking places in Newton County, right up the road from us here. Mm-hmm. They're taking an old paper mill and actually refitting it so that it makes biofuel.
Wow.
That's going to send jet fuel over to LAX airport in California, all the way from little bitty Newton, Texas. So, so that's one of those things where it just takes things that lay dormant or that we couldn't use before and actually getting those up and going and taking those small areas and actually putting some people back to work. So it's a beautiful thing to see. It really is.
Definitely. Now, I said that to say this. You are in the safety realm. There is a big thing with gas and safety that you have to adhere to. How does that involve you? How do you get interjected with this? Because a lot of people, like I said, think that getting into this whole gas thing or getting into the safety thing is like buku bucks, but it really is a lot of learning. Tell me about that.
It is. You're exactly right. It's a ton of learning the processes that are out there. But here's the thing. It's just like anything else you get into in life. If you find a niche to get into or you see an opening, finding someone that can help you learn that piece of it, you can find a really good pathway. I feel like a lot of people that I talk to reach out and say, well, I've got to do schooling first, or I've got to follow and get all these degrees. And that's not the way it works. What you do is you start doing a little bit of research and figure out where the need is, because whether it's personal or whether it's your business, finding someone with a need is the way it happens. And with the gas businesses out there, whether it's LNG or renewable natural gas, dealing with folks that you're building these facilities next to in these communities, the refineries and the plant owners, they spend a lot of time and money making sure that they're not out there poisoning people. Right. I know we've all seen the crazy things that happen and the movies that pinpoint it, but I feel like nowadays you really are held accountable and have reached out to folks to the point that everybody they deal with is personal now. The people that work at these plants, they live in these communities. So if they're hurting somebody, and that's the thing about a plant, you're not just hurting somebody right next to the fence. You're hurting people all out in the city and the county that you're in. So these folks are automatically affected like that, and they really take it to heart. And that's where you get that is when you hire people that's in the community and you hire them local, you can't get any better than that because they have some skin in the game.
Yeah, definitely. So where do you fit in this whole circle? Because I know that this kind of goes it just kind of goes all in one big circle. One without the other just doesn't work. So where do you fit in as safety, as all of that good stuff? Because the first thing that you learn when you go to a company is what? The rules, the regulations, the safety issues, and all that. So tell me where you fall into and where your niche kind of led you to be pinpointed.
Okay. Well, so to easily answer that question, that whole thing about the square peg and the round hole, that's about how I fit. No, seriously though, it's really neat because one aspect as the owner of Hol-Tech Resources is the safety piece. So I deal with a lot of small businesses that are trying to get their safety programs up to par so they can work for these refineries. So I get to deal with a lot of owners, a lot of safety individuals that are looking to improve. And then you look at the flip side of that, and being one of the co-founders of the Golden Triangle Industrial Group, which is a group that brings salespeople together and executives together to kind of grow their businesses. Now I can see how if you have the right safety record and you put that with quality work, you automatically start getting more work together.
Yeah.
So I'm able to take safety from just something that's a have to type of thing. It's viewed that way. And now you're putting in, oh, wait a minute, we can use that to make money. And as soon as you show these business owners and folks that work for these companies that you can make money off of safety, man, they buy into it a whole lot better.
So, okay. So one example, because I know there's some business people out there looking and going, wait, what? Tell me about this. Just one example.
One example. Okay. So I have a saying that safety will never, ever, ever make you a dime, but it can save you millions. So you look, and here's what a testament to that. So we had a company. This company's got, it's actually RT Technical. Look at all this logo up right here. See, brand endorsement already.
Oh yeah.
So this is a personal story. So I was working with Hol-Tech, and I got with the local learning institution here, Lamar Institute of Technology in Beaumont. And they had some grants from Texas Workforce Commission for safety training. So every year we take our 25 guys and we send them through training so that we can qualify to work in the plants. It's a have to type of thing. You can't get away from it. So you take that many people and you multiply, anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500 a year worth of safety training for each individual. So I took a little time and found out about these grants. We were able to save over $100,000 worth of training that we had budgeted. We were able to save because we used that grant program. So what happened right after COVID? Everybody's trying to find jobs, they're not doing good. So here's what we did. We were able to save that money, which means you could put that money in the bank. And when the POs weren't coming in right and things were tight, that money was able to be used to pay paychecks, to keep equipment going, to buy materials, instead of having to go to safety training.
Wow.
So that's one way that it's like, hey, you've got to have it and you can't get around it.
Right.
So when you make $1, you've got 70 something cents, right? Because you got to pay all the taxes, everything on top of it. When you save $1, you actually have that dollar in your hand. And that's one of the ways we were able to keep going through all of the pandemic issues.
Wow. And I don't think a lot of people understand that there's a lot of grants out there for safety training. There's a lot of grants out there to start your business, to do this, to do that, to do payroll. There are a lot of different ways that you can get your hands on money. But also there's a lot of different ways to grow your business and to keep that money. And like you said, for times that, you need to use it for something different. That is great. Okay. So tell me, like, if you were to have a small company that comes up to you, what would be the first thing that you would tell them if they wanted to kind of hire you to be, to do what you do?
Okay. So what I would tell them, one is you got to find out what their vision is. Because there's there's two main pieces that I've seen in business. You'll find folks that want to become business owners because they don't like to work for somebody else. And if you're those kind of people, I know people say, well, you don't want to do that. It's easier to work for somebody. But man, when you have that burning desire to be able to do something yourself, it may start out as, I have a problem with authority, or I don't like to be bossed around, but that's not what it is. It's just something inside you that wants to fulfill a need that's there. And so if you've got that dream and that desire, the other thing is to just look out there and find people that have had success stories like this. Look for your resources and listen to these kind of folks. Even if you don't take their advice, I've had people offer me 25 different things. And there was one nugget of information in there that I was like, wow, okay, that was worth the 30-minute conversation or the hour conversation just for that one little nugget of information. The second thing is to hire smart people. smarter than you, faster than you, better looking than you, whatever you need. I've seen that be the best thing out there. I've actually done it myself where I'm like, okay, I'm a fairly sharp individual. I can do all this by myself. And it just doesn't work. It can wear you down. So when you get to the point of hiring folks and bringing them onto your team and into your work family, and look for the people, and be honest with yourself, look for the people that fit and excel where you don't. I'm not the most organized individual in the world. So if somebody makes a list or even does calendar invites, they just amaze me. I'm like, man, how do you stick to that? So that's probably the two biggest things is, make sure you have that drive and that vision. And the second is find your resources to help you out. If you try to be hard-headed and do it yourself, man, it'll make you old fast, and you won't make near as much money as you would if you grow it the right way.
Awesome. But you're right. You're definitely right. You got to find those people that fit and mesh with you, and also mesh within that realm that you're looking to fill. Now, so how can people reach you, and why would people reach you?
Well, they would reach me because I need money. No.
Maybe get him off the show.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I need money too.
The best way to reach me is by cell phone. It's 409-926-1397. And you can also send me an email. It's Hollis at Hol-Tech, Holtech resources.com. And I tell you, the reason that I have been successful is I always approach situations where it doesn't matter if I know what you do. When I got into the electrical business, I had no idea what it was, but I knew how to deal with people. And that's what I look at. Whether you're a company that sells loaded tea, or a banking institution, or a mom and pop restaurant, there's always things that have to happen with dealing with people and reaching to the public. And so what I've been able to do is take folks that are in the industrial world and relate them to all of the outer circle that supports them. And it comes down to restaurants. These folks in the plants and the refineries, they've got to have things to eat. They've got to have gyms to work out in and things like that. So I've been able to deal with a lot of those outer rings and outer realms that I'm talking about. So it just gives them an insight. If you're a small business, a mom and pop restaurant, or a car wash, and you may be only looking this high, but then sometimes you don't know about this upper level right here that you could really be reaching out for. So I think that's one of the things that I'm able to bring to it, is just to kind of give them a little enhanced vision of what's going on out there.
Nice. I like that. I definitely like that. Did we miss anything today?
Oh man, I think the only thing I'm missing is this beach background that would look really good behind me.
I want
See, yours is a lot more creative than mine is.
No, really want to. Now you maybe want to jump in my car and go to the beach and be like, bye.
Oh, there you. I'm out of here. There is one thing I would like to mention too, that we talked a lot about the gas and the business and how you grow the stuff, but I think one of the coolest things about what I've been doing is watching people grow, even if it's not the first time. I've seen a lot of folks that tried this business, it didn't work, and another business, it didn't work, and then maybe the third or fourth time after they tried it, to see them succeed, or to be able to give them, just sit down at dinner and not even paid for advice, just talking back and forth, and see the light go off. I tell you, that is the most amazing thing out there for sure.
Definitely. I agree with you on that one. I love doing that here at Dream Chasers Radio, having people in, and then when they come back, they're like that big, or they're bigger, or they're succeeding. And I love that. I absolutely love that. And I wouldn't take it back for the world. I'm just so over the moon happy for everyone that succeeds in their business. And I thank you so much, Mr. Hollis, for being on the show. And I'm going to put all of his information in the description box below. If you didn't get his phone number or his email, that's also going to be down there in the description box. So don't worry, you didn't miss it. But if you want to rewind and listen to the whole thing, you can, because all we did was talk about gas, and not the gas that comes out of people's mouth. Okay, just say it. Oh, but I want to thank everybody so much for tuning in. And Mr. Hollis, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I appreciate it. I had a great time.
My pleasure. I sure appreciate it very much.
Thank you. And thank you guys so much. And don't forget to dare to be different. Until next time, guys. Bye.